My final exams were just around the corner. I had to get back home and do my final exams, which were starting as of April. And my flight back was March 17th. Now I had my exams, I had my capstone paper due, and on top of that, I had my iron ring ceremony, which is engineers in Canada have a ceremony in which they're given iron rings once they finish their undergraduate degrees. So it was a very important ceremony that I couldn't have missed. And right when I was about to fly back, I received a notification on my phone. The notification was that my flight has been canceled. At the same time, the coronavirus had just gone exponential. This virus, which around March 14th to 17th, had spread across the world. And I was in a foreign nation, nearly 24 hours of travel away from home. The Canadian government issued a statement telling all residents and citizens to come back home as soon as possible. I still had a few more days left of the trip. And at that moment, I was under stress. I was under an extremely insane amount of stress. You may have had similar situations, an apocalyptic situation where a super virus takes over the world and all of the airports, and you have to walk through these airports, which are pretty much the gateways of hell to get to the other end. I had to embrace that journey. I knew I had to write my exams. I needed to graduate that year or my parents would get my ass handed to me. I needed to finish my exams. I needed to do my capstone. My team was depending on me. And also I needed to get the iron ring. I had to build up my courage. I had to understand my psychology and what was happening at the moment. And humans are amazing creatures because they can adapt to change. They can adapt to the most outrageous circumstances. And what happens in our bodies is our brains release cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And we're biologically driven through seeing different predators or something that is a threat. And at the moment, the biggest threat for me was the coronavirus. It was basically a lion that was running toward me. And my exams were even a bigger threat because if I didn't write them, I would have to repeat another year of university, which I was not ready to repeat. And my exams were a dragon. It was coming at me at full speed. I was really thinking back to a book that I read called Man's Search for Meaning, written by a psychologist. His name is Viktor Frankl. And he spoke about logotherapy, which is a state of mind and a practice in which you optimistically look toward the future rather than the past. At that moment, I believed in myself. I believed that I was going to write my exams no matter what. And the decisions that I made were the correct ones. I knew I had that mental grit. I had that drive within me to get back home, to get safely back home to my family. And I knew there was a possibility of being stuck in the United States. And that wasn't that big of an issue other than the fact that it would cost me an arm and a leg if I did get this virus, since the healthcare system is so expensive. Now, eventually, that next 24 hours, that 24-hour journey back home was intense. It was stressful. I had a 9-hour layover in San Francisco, which was another hotspot for Corona. And I remember every 30 minutes washing my hands. Eventually, I ended up coming back to Pearson Airport, Toronto, and I was never so homesick in my entire life. Let me tell you, when I got home, I was so happy to be back home and just be able to just stay indoors and relax. I'm a big traveler. I love to travel, but at that moment, I just wanted to be home. I just wanted to be safe with my family and obviously quarantine myself first. But that was my coronavirus journey. It was an apocalyptic situation, which was physically, mentally draining. But at the end of the day, I reflect back to that journey at a time where my final exams, my capstone paper, and everything was on the line. But at the end of the day, I grew so much as a result of that journey. I don't regret this journey whatsoever, running away from a super virus pandemic, and was able to write my final exams and hand in that capstone paper. And it was one of the most incredible journeys and adventures of my life.